Future's now, old man.
What it do? Boo! Gotcha. This is Future First Podcast, where we're helping you win today with the Future First mindset. I'm your co-host Jmac here with my co-host Jose. Happy Halloween, man. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, happy Halloween, Jmac. I'm great, man. As looking, if you're watching on YouTube, hopefully you are. You're getting a whole new view, a whole new display here. We got a whole new graphic set up thanks to one and only Jmac working hard at it. So if you guys are down there, hit them in the comments. Throw an extra thumbs up in there just for all the extra hard work that Jmac put in. These graphics look real spiffy. Just trying to get better every podcast, and the graphics are a part of it. And yeah, man. So thank you for all your hard work, J-Mac, because couldn't do it without you.
No, man, for sure. New set. Who dis? It felt good. It's just fun to get in there, and honestly, that's kind of my favorite part about what we do here is producing it and putting it all together. But yeah, shout out to Fox who help us get the logo and inspire what we did here, and kind of with the theme we got going with kind of the Back to the Future stuff. It's been fun, and shout out to her again. She has been helping us with all our thumbnails. You can follow her on X at bfoxworth07. But yeah, man, if you're watching on YouTube, if you can like it twice, do it. I would highly encourage that. But otherwise, just touch down on that like button one time. But you can go for two on that subscribe. Leave a comment. It's fun to engage with you guys. Let us know what you think of what we got going on here. If you like it, if you don't, we're not going to change it, so it doesn't matter. But we here like to hear from you guys. Either way, you can hit us up on Spotify and Apple Pods. Follow and rate the show there. Drop a 5-star review if you so please. But man, we're gonna jump right into it today because we do have a packed episode here. No quick hit today, but we are gonna talk about some rookies in the rough and finding which ones can shine in their tough situations. And then we'll talk about some vets in senior or senile, and whether we're gonna ship these guys off to assisted living or we're gonna keep them on our squad because there's still some value to be had there. All right, man, you want to jump into this?
Yeah, let's hit it.
Let's do it. All right, rookies in the rough here, where we're spotlighting the hidden gems before they shine. The purpose of this here is we're trying to identify some under the radar rookies who haven't quite yet broken out. We're going to be looking at finding tomorrow's I told you so players, and for each guy we'll examine if we see a path for them to break out this year, kind of give you a redraft perspective on them, and how we see their long-term value to kind of wrap it up into some dynasty landscape there. So let's get into it, man. We're gonna break these guys out into where they were drafted, high end first rounders, mid tier second rounders, and low tier third rounders. But for this first high-end tier here, we got a couple guys we want to talk about here. And let's bring up Ashton Jeanty, man. He hasn't had the greatest start to the season. Obviously, highly touted coming into this draft class, not only in Dynasty, but also in redraft. He was a first-round pick in both of those formats, and it feels like we might have overdrafted him a little bit. His situation there with the Raiders is it's obviously not been sunshine and rainbows. They've been struggling heartily. They might be one of the worst teams in the league here. So yeah, man, it hasn't looked great for Jeanty, but let's talk about him. And do you see a path for him to truly break out this year?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough. I think this year. I mean, I think we've seen flashes of it, but I think there's been way more bad than good. Where maybe people don't all play Dynasty the same way, right? Like if you had the 101, you're probably either you got lucky, you made some smart trade, or you're a bad team. Running backs, most people are not the things that they're trying to build around. So there, I think there could be some possibilities to buy Jeanty off one of those rebuilding teams. Maybe you're offering more of a wide receiver type of thing, but I think the breakout is probably not really coming this year, but I think it's down the road. Like, I mean, we've seen running backs who have maybe struggled. They haven't hit the ground running as much as possible. And it takes, a second year, a change of offensive coordinator, a better O-line, better quarterback play, lots of different things that can change drastically for Jeanty. And I think that type of stuff is probably coming. So I think you can buy in. I think he still has the top 5 sort of dynasty wide running back ceiling, right? That we kind of all were thinking when we saw his tape, when we saw what he did in college, where he was drafted. I think that's still possible. And I think probably his price won't be any cheaper, right? So if you're trying to buy in right before the diamonds start shining bright, I think now is probably the cheapest it's going to be. I mean, it could maybe continue to dip into the season if he continues to underperform, but I don't think by much. Whoever has him, maybe he's also okay to just hold. But people get frustrated. You never know, right? It's one of those things that we've talked about on previous episodes. Like, you never know if Ashton Jeanty is somebody you can trade for until you go have that conversation, right? So there's nothing that stops you, and there's no loss from you just trying to talk to the manager if it's Jeanty, somebody you believe who you can buy. Maybe maybe someone just wants to get a little bit back on their investment, a first and something else, right? A piece, something of value, or maybe just a first. And then you think that is going to double or triple, right? If he hits the ceiling that it was all projected, he would be worth 2 or 3 firsts, right? Whatever Gibbs, whatever Bijan is worth. So I'm still in. I still think it's going to happen. I just don't know if it's going to happen this year, which honestly maybe just gives you a better buy window, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I feel like that's really smart. Yeah, the path for this year for him to break out, it feels tough. That offensive line is not doing any favors. I mean, he's really elusive. All of those, missed tackles force and, elusivity ratings and, yards after contact, like all those metrics are pointing up for Jeanty. The problem is he's getting hit in the backfield so often that he's not able to really do anything with it. And then on top of that, the offense is just dead in the water. I mean, Geno Smith is one of the worst quarterbacks in the league, I think, right behind Cam Ward, and it's not great. I don't know if that changes. They haven't had Brock Bowers, and he's obviously like the offensive piece that they're trying to build this offense around. So when he gets back this week, maybe he can kind of give that offense a spark and things can kind of look up for Jeanty. But the bottom line is that offensive line is just not good. I don't think anything's really going to change for him this year. I don't think we see a breakout, like a late half breakout where, he ends up being a top 10 running back rest of season or anything like that, unfortunately. And then, yeah, like you were saying, for the long-term value, the dynasty perspective here, it's a real hard one. I mean, when you think about like the teams that Jeanty's on, he's probably on a team that was rebuilding, and they, they had the 101, and they knew that, he's a young enough asset to where they can kind of build around him. You're probably not going to pick him up from that team. They're probably pretty happy with him losing right now if they're still trying to rebuild properly. Or, you had a competitor who paid up heavily to get into him. And if that's the situation you have, then you might have a better buy window there, depending on the assets that you have to trade for him. If you had like a Jonathan Taylor or a Christian McCaffrey or, one of these elite producing veterans, you might be able to trade for Jeanty right now and, get a pretty good deal in on him. But that's really the only time that I see it happening. And that's probably more rare than it is an actual occurrence that's happening often. So yeah, I mean, it's a hard one too. It's like, if I had Jeanty, I'm not selling him for anything less than 2 firsts. And even that doesn't feel great because, I mean, those firsts are probably coming from contenders. So it's just like, it's one of those situations. It's hard. I think in one league, I was trying to trade him for a JSN type to a team that was kind of on the fence between contending and not. And he considered it. I think I offered Jeanty in a first to get to JSN, and I don't know, it was like Tony Pollard or something like that, DeAndre Swift. and he he came back and was like, "Nah, like I feel like I can contend, and I think JSN is that guy." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." Like, obviously, that's why I'm trying to trade for him. Um, and me, that I had a running back room that's just stacked. Jeanty was just not really hitting the lineup for me all that much. I was just trying to get off of him and get into a wide receiver, which my I needed help in. So it didn't end up getting done, but I feel like that's kind of the moves that you're looking at doing if you have him on a contending team and you're trying to get out of him to something more productive, but also have a similar dynasty value.
Yeah, I agree. I think those are the type of moves. I mean, I think the only thing for a rebuilder, maybe if they're worried about what their 101 is doing, if you have a stockpile of wide receivers, young wide receivers, like an Odunze or a plus or something, maybe you can get him for something like that because people are always more willing to sit on wide receivers than they are on running backs, especially in Dynasty. But
Hmm.
yeah, man, I think that's a pretty good synopsis overall of Jeanty. You want to move on to the next guy?
Yeah, let's do it. We got Hendo Geedy coming in next.
We might have cursed him when we made that graphic. Feels like
We
I mean
might
he
have.
wasn't getting a lot of work, but as soon as we started hyping him up and talking about him, and like the Patriots were like, "What? Second round pick? Who? What? Ramondre Stevenson? Yeah, that's our guy." Like
Yeah.
it's incredible. I mean, this weekend this episode will come out after we know what he's done because he's probably going to get a decent amount of work, or
Yeah.
maybe the stock will be even lower because somehow Ramondre's hurt and he only still gets like 7 carries and a catch, and some random, I don't know even know who would be playing ahead of him at this point, but it would be total meltdown time if that happened. But yeah, I mean, Hendo, what are your thoughts on him?
It's tough, man. And yeah, that graphic was may have been the nail in the coffin. We talked about it offline, but it'd be really funny if we could get, Josh McDaniel to come out and throw a boot on the on the Guinea there, and just the kind of that's what it feels like, right? It feels like it's a coach's decision that's really creating this lack of opportunity for Hendo here. There's all sorts of weird rumors flying around too. Like the running backs don't feel comfortable back there because they're so worried about performing good or fumbling or something like that. So there's weird vibes going on out there, and honestly, like they're winning, and I think that's
Right.
kind of like one of the biggest things is like you can't tell a coach he's wrong when they're winning. Like it doesn't matter what we think. Like what they're doing is working, and Hendo not getting touches is just part of the plan. But for this season, I still think it could be there. Like things are kind of lining up to kind of give Henderson the ball more, right? We already lost Antonio Gibson to injury, and now we have Ramondre Stevenson missing 3 straight practices in a row. And honestly, like I think people started losing their minds. I did when news came out that the Patriots might be trading for a running back before the trade deadline. But now, in retrospect, that might just be because Ramondre Stevenson isn't healthy. And this might not have to do with Henderson at all, right? So I think it's interesting. I do think there is a pathway for him to break out this year, especially because the offense is good, right? The problem is Josh McDaniel wants to feature multiple running backs all the time. He's not the kind of guy that wants to give the share to one person, which we have tons of examples of going back to his earlier times with the Patriots and what was that guy's name? White is his last name. I can't remember his first name. The other fast running back that actually Henderson got comped to quite a bit, and then they had Burkhead and another guy I can't remember. But yeah, I mean, I do see it for him. And honestly, like unfortunately, like the buy window is probably closed for Henderson right now for dynasty wise. Um, but yeah, I guess before we get into the dynasty perspective, do you see a path for him to break out this year?
To be honest, I mean, I think that I thought the same thing on the trade news once we heard Ramondre was, but I thought I took a negative spin on it because I thought if they're looking for another running back to trade for in the trade deadline, I mean, they clearly think they're a playoff team or a playoff hopeful team. It just makes me think that they like completely don't trust Hendo to like if they traded for a guy, I have no doubt in my mind that that guy would not be to back up Hendo. It would be to probably share with Hendo or still continue to run over Hendo. I don't know. I mean, more and more, I'm just thinking, is he just the kind of next Kenneth Walker, where like we thought, this good profile. He went in the second round. Kenneth Walker's been more because of injuries, but now he clearly has somebody that's running with him. Like is because Ramondre I think is there for at least another year. They paid him decent to good money. So I don't think that problem's going away. So I mean, I don't know. It depends how serious this Ramondre Stevenson injury is. If he only misses one game, I think then he just goes back to business as usual. I think Hendo would probably need to prove it to the coaching staff in a way where it's like multiple weeks over stacked on top of each other to kind of just be like, okay, it's kind of stupid to not get this guy the ball, right? Especially if, like you said, they continue to win when Ramondre's out and Hendo's playing well, then the coaches would be like, okay, maybe there's another gear, another lever we can use in games with him. But it just doesn't seem like he's a thought in games at all. Like, hey, we need to do something or we need to change it up. No, just give Ramondre the ball again. Like it doesn't matter how many times he fumbles, doesn't matter what. Like it's Ramondre and that's it. So I think that's the path forward. I mean, never wishing injuries on anybody. Like Ramondre's been good for fantasy if you've had him in a redraft or even some sort of contenders point of view in Dynasty. But unless his injury is like more significant and he misses several weeks, I still think that the things will just stay the same. It's not trending in the direction that like some of these other guys are doing, right? Like his snap share is not increasing week over week. It's not the opportunities the coach speak. Like none of it really makes you think besides just he's a second round pick and we liked his tape coming out of college. Like right now, everything the Patriots are doing is telling us that it's not coming like the way that it has for other people, after the bye week, after, second half of the season, it just doesn't seem like that's the way it's trending. So for me, I'm just kind of reading those tea leaves and it's hard for me to get on board seeing something drastically change for the second half of the season.
I don't like it, Jose.
Yeah, no, I mean, a lot of people don't like him, man. I mean, he was shooting up draft boards in redraft. I mean, he was a highly a top 5 pick for a lot of people in dynasty rookie drafts. Like, I mean, it's one of those things that like sometimes NFL and coaches just don't go hand in hand with what we think in fantasy, and there's nothing we can do but just be like mad, right?
You think the Lamborghini's too loud? Are you the one that's on calling the HOA? It's you, isn't it, Jose?
Yeah, I'm secretly on the board. I'm one of those shadow members.
I knew
I'm sending
it.
the video clips of him, doing things. I mean, honestly, it just feels like one of those like, did they draft the wrong player? Like, did they think they were getting something and then they got him in the building, they got him in practices, and they're like, oh man, this dude's not good. Like, I mean, that could honestly like NFL teams make mistakes. They thought they were getting a Lamborghini and maybe they ended up getting a lemon and like they're wishing to turn it back. Because I mean, honestly, otherwise it's just like it doesn't make so much sense, but sometimes NFL coaches just don't make sense. So that's also a possibility, but it's hard to know because we haven't seen him on the NFL field to tell if he's good enough to be on it. So
yeah, the lack of opportunity has been prevalent for him. Yeah, I'm hoping that things do turn around for him here. I mean, they have to use him more, right? Maybe not. I don't know. Who would that other guy getting touches in the backfield last week? That was embarrassing. All right, I'm done with this. I don't want to talk about Henderson
it's
anymore.
Depressing, man. Yeah,
it is. Let's move on. We got a few other guys we kind of just want to give some mentions to, but not dive too deeply into. Teteroa McMillan, man, T-Mac. Do you see a path for him breaking out this year?
I mean, we keep waiting for it. We keep saying this matchup, versus this team. Now this guy's hurt and this and that and the other, and it's like, I don't know. He never projected to be like an alpha. Like, I always liked Igbuka better than him. I mean, it's obviously like that's a weird thing to say now when Igbuka is clearly so much better. But for me, that was always the case. It's like I think he still has the shot to be like a good wide receiver too. But is Bryce Young good enough for that? Like, are we going to go through Bryce Young's career and be like, he was never good for a fantasy wide receiver, right? I mean, right now it's been what, third year for Bryce Young, right? He's had three different coaches. How, I mean, this seems like the tale oldest time of these quarterbacks in these bad organizations where like maybe he finds it down the road like a Darnold or a Baker, but it just doesn't seem like he's fantasy goodness. Like the only time he's produced anything was with Thielen, and it was just like PPR, dinking dunks, and that doesn't seem to be the Tet game. So I mean, I don't want to make this the Debbie Downer episode or be the Debbie, but I just personally, man, it's hard to see. I mean, we've seen 9 weeks of it. He's been out there so much, and it just there's nothing, there's not to me, there's not the signs of life where you're like, ooh, this is my first round pick that I picked, in the middle of the first round or wherever you might have picked him in a rookie draft. I just don't see that personally.
So you are out on him not only for this year, but it sounds like for Dynasty as well.
Yeah, I mean, I thankfully didn't get a chance to draft him anywhere. I either was in the really early or in the back end of most first round, so I don't have him anywhere. So maybe if I had him, I would feel maybe a little bit differently, or my mindset would be a little different. But he feels like like the way he came out of college, it seemed like most people felt like he was good. I don't know if elite. And in terms of NFL, what he's done, I don't think I've seen any numbers that have made me. And he hasn't played under 80% of snaps for any game, and it's just like the numbers are just very, very pedestrian. Like nothing super exciting. I mean, and that's just to me is kind of like the Trevor Lawrence or the Bryce Young kind of quarterback problem. And it's like when you're not elite enough, your quarterback really can hold you down as a wide receiver, and I just think he's going to have that Bryce Young problem. So I mean, I don't have any shares, so it's hard for me to really value like exactly like what I would give up. But I think if I was an owner of Tet, I think I would be looking to reload. Honestly, I think there's some better wide receiver prospects that you can buy into coming out this year, and even of course in 2027. So I would just be looking to reload that pick if I could.
Okay. No, that's good. I was gonna ask. Okay. No, that's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I still believe in the talent. Like he's really good, but yeah, I think we have a problem with the offense there. So I kind of tend to lean to agree with you. Yeah, I had one share of him in Dynasty, and I think I got out on him earlier. That was one of the trades I made for Malik Neighbors. He was one of the guys in the package deal. All right, let's move on then to. Oh, sorry.
Just one quick, sorry, just because I always find this funny. Can you tell me what team he played and scored his only 2 NFL touchdowns this year against?
Oh no, is it the Cowboys?
It is the Cowboys. His only touchdowns all year just against and that was his best game. 2 touchdowns, and I think he scored 16 PPR, half PPR points that week. It's just it is what it is, man. The Cowboys are just. Anyways, man, that's my misery. Get out
Thank
of here.
you. Thank you, Jerry Jones.
You dirty 49ers fan. All right, who are we moving on to talk about?
This one's going to be short here, but Caleb Johnson, man, I don't think there's a path for him to break out this year unless you think otherwise.
No, just do my best. Tomlin impersonation. No, just no.
Just no. Okay, what about Dynasty? Are you still buying in on him in any way?
I mean, it's hard because Warren has looked good. Warren looks like Najee was holding him back, right? Like you see Warren play, and he looks like a good NFL running back. And the fact that Caleb Johnson can't even sniff the field, I don't know, man. It's I think a hold because I don't know what you can even trade for him at this point. And it's like you drafted him probably back into the first round. Like, can you reload that pick like we were talking about Tet into another first round and just spin the wheel again? Maybe. But I'm probably just holding. I think like if I have him, I'm just holding and hoping that something changes. Like I don't think it's much this season, like we said, but maybe down the road, he can find the role.
No sneaky buy lows or anything like that.
I mean, I think you definitely can buy low. I mean, if you still believe in the talent, you were one of those guys, Caleb over Harvey, and you still believe in it. Then I mean, there's no time to buy lower than a player that's like literally not even playing. Like he was on the punt return or kick return and he messed that up, and Literally, I don't think he's been back on the field. They almost left him in England, I think, maybe. I don't know. Like at this point, like I don't know if there is a buy or low moment. I mean, he has not had a snap since week 6, where he's gone 2 weeks without a single snap. So like if you are still a believer, yeah, buy now. I mean, there it can't get lower. I don't think.
Yeah, like I've been a Caleb Johnson detractor for most of the season. And at this point, like it's low enough where I'm kind of like looking at him like, hey, it's kind of shiny, maybe. I don't know. Like, I'll throw a third at it. Like, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, if I could pick him up for a third and just like stash him, especially on a team where I'm not trying to contend, obviously not in like a best ball format because I don't want that dead weight on my team. But if I'm like like a productive struggle type of team or I'm rebuilding, like he seems like a really good throw in to get a deal done or just throw a third at him and it is what it is. But yeah, man, it's not it's not great for him. I love that you said they almost left him in London. That's great. It's Caleb Johnson's falling down. Yeah, that's what came to my mind right there.
Oh man.
All right, we got one more high-end first rounder guy here, and that's Colston Loveland. It's pretty interesting. The Bears seem to be trending up, but there's a lot of target competition on that squad. So where are you at with him breaking out this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be coming. I mean, I think his production, right? He's one of those that we're talking about where it's actually, you're seeing it go up. Like the numbers are not anything spectacular, right? Only a couple catches in most games, but he went, he was injured, so that kind of derailed him, but he started at 50%, then got injured, then he came back 40, 60 last week against Baltimore. He was up to 81% of snaps, right? Still nothing crazy for in terms of like his fantasy points, but I think it's coming. I mean, Cole Kmet is, whatever he is, he's been in the league already 6 years. He's never
He's
really
injured.
done. He's also injured, right?
Yeah.
I think he's ready to come back this week, which is kind of a bummer. I'm obviously like never wanting players to be hurt, but in the context of Colston Loveland, but I think you probably see a thinning of that target share. I think you're going to have Rome as the leader of that room next year. I think DJ Moore it gets shipped off, cut if there's, I don't know what the contract is, but that would be what I would think. And then I think Cole Kmet is also on his way out, and you're kind of looking at a wide receiver room where there might be a concentration of targets, and we've seen what the tight end can do for we've seen what Ben Johnson can do for his tight ends with Sam Laporta, right? It was one of the things we talked about coming into the season with Odunze, right? That we really liked. That's kind of come to fruition, maybe not as heavy, but I think Caleb's starting to figure it out. So he's definitely one of the guys on this list that I would want to buy in. Like I don't know what his price is. I don't have him anywhere either, so I haven't had like that kind of mindset of like what would I play for this player to pay to give him up. But I mean, if we believed in his talent, right? Just like Warren's, we thought his freak. I mean, he is what, like 21 years old, like something crazy. Like, yeah, he's 21, right? So he's super young. Like we know sometimes these tight ends take a bit of time. So he's definitely a guy that I'm into, man. I don't know if the full breakout, but I think we see some flashes. And if you want to buy in a little bit early, like we're talking about, I think now is the time where you can kind of avoid those flashes where people kind of then are like, ooh, man, he had those 3 really good games to end the season. I don't know if I want to move him.
So then in redraft, are you stashing him in any way? Are you spending a roster spot on him, hoping for that, or are you just kind of waiting to see it?
No, in redraft, he's on the waiver. I mean, unless like some sort of desperation or something else happens. But I never like to roster a onesie more than one of them if I can avoid it. So yeah, he's not somebody I'm looking to stash. I don't think the breakout's coming that like he's not gonna do a Gadsden type of thing. I don't believe.
He's one of my favorites to stash on a Sunday, where I have already seen a player play on Thursdays, and in a league where I can drop them after they've played. Um, I'll drop a stash from that Thursday game. Like this Thursday, I picked up Ollie Gordon as a stash, and after the game was over, I dropped him and I went and stashed someone else. I don't think it was Colston Loveland in this case, but Loveland is one of those guys where if you have a guy that's out, you can throw him in your IR and you have a stash for that week. He's one of the guys I just throw on the end of the bench just to see what happens. Like imagine if that was Gadsden a couple weeks ago. That would have been paying off for you. All right, cool. Let's get out of these high end guys and then move into these mid tier guys and the second rounders here. We got two guys that were in the second round that are on the same team, both wide receivers. Of course, we're talking about Jaden Higgins and Jalen Noel. Either of these guys interesting to you for breaking out this year on Houston?
I mean that offense is so bad that maybe you have one, but I think now Nico coming back, Schultz is always there. I think uh, is Kirk there still, right?
Christian
Christian Kirk.
Kirk, yeah, he's been hurt,
Yeah,
but he's coming back this week.
but he's coming back. So I think the opportunities just continue to not be there. But I definitely, the problem is I'm not sure which one I prefer. Like I kind of see them in the same kind of bucket. So it's maybe like just take your shot for the future. But I do think one of them has a role to play if the Houston offense can figure it out. I'm honestly like a little bit unsure of which guy I prefer. I think I see them very similarly.
Yeah, I feel like Jalen Noel is a better fit for this season, just with how bad that offensive line is. They're, I think we mentioned it a couple episodes how they need to get easier looks for getting for how bad that offensive line is. They need to get easier looks, and I think Noel playing out of the slot works better for that for CJ Stroud getting the ball out within a quick couple seconds here. Where Jaden Higgins is more the outside guy, needs some time to develop to get downfield. Um, I like Jaden Higgins' talent more coming in than I like Noel's. So I guess for breakout this year, I think Noel is the guy that you're probably wanting, but Higgins is the guy that I'd want long term, and actually who I have in quite a few places for dynasty value wise. It'll be interesting to see what that team is in a year or two because I mean they'll have Tank Dell coming back, then they'll have these two rookie wide receivers. Where's Christian Kirk go? Nico's still there. It'll be really interesting. Hopefully they can build up that offensive line and go forward. So I don't know if you have any thoughts on their dynasty perspective here. If you just want to move on to the next guy.
No, I think we could not talk about the next guy, right? I mean, we're talking about Trey Harris from the Chargers. Yeah, he's another guy. I don't think the breakout really will come this year necessarily, but he's definitely a guy I'm interested in who they drafted. They drafted a couple rookies for next year, right? I think he was always, especially when they brought back Keenan, a guy that kind of got just pushed down. Too many mouths to feed. QJ, I don't know what his contract is, but he's going to go into his fourth year. I don't know if they're going to re-sign a long-term extension. I don't necessarily think he's playing, and he doesn't seem to have that great connection with Herbert. So I would love to see what Trey Harris has. He's definitely a guy I'm stashing in a lot of dynasty places. I think unless there's an injury in the Chargers wide receiver room for this year, it seems a little bleak. But yeah, what did you kind of have on with Trey Harris?
I don't think he's breaking out this year. It's just so crowded there. I mean, even without Keenan Allen there, with Gadsden breaking out now, I mean, we still have QJ, and yeah, QJ is going into his fourth year, but remember he was picked in the first round, so they can exercise a fifth year option for him, which I imagine they will do after what they've seen from him this year. They seem to really like him, so I think QJ stays around for at least 2 more years. Um, and whether that's good or bad for the team, Trey Harris has a good talent. I don't does he rise into the Keenan Allen role like where Keenan Allen leaves next year? That's the question to be had. Gadsden has just looked so good that he seems to be the Keenan Allen, and then Trey Harris just seems like he wants to do the same things that QJ does. So I don't know, man. It's tough for me to see him breaking out this year. It's tough for me to want to buy into him for Dynasty. I do like the talent. Honestly, like I feel like he's one of those guys you buy low on, wait for a blow up game, and then you can sell because there was a hive on him. So he's more like a value conduit for me than he is like a stash to production. So yeah, for these next guys, how about let's do this? We got four guys here that we want to talk about. Just give me a yes or no on these questions here, and we'll just kind of move on from 'em. Okay, Golden, does he break out this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's gonna be a better days ahead than what we've seen. I don't know if full breakout into stardom, but yeah, I think there's some good fantasy stuff coming from Golden, I think.
Okay. Do you want him in Dynasty?
I don't have him anywhere, but I wouldn't mind buying a low on him. I think he's one of those dart throws that could end up being a decent flex. So it's without riding the fence too much, I'd say yes.
Okay. All right. Tootin, does he break out this year?
No, I don't think so.
Do you want him in Dynasty?
Not particularly, no.
Okay. All right. That's an interesting one. Yeah, I feel like yeah, he's not going to break out this year. I do kind of want him in Dynasty because I'm curious to see where ETN goes, and he's kind of the next man up. So I might be interested in him there. But I'm with you on the redraft perspective. Okay, Mason Taylor. We've seen a little bit from him. Does he break out fully?
Um, no, probably. It's hard to say. If I think if they made a quarterback change, there might be more chances because there'd be more short game, quick, getting the ball out. But with Fields, I don't think so.
Man, they need more than a quarterback change. They need a quarterback trade, I feel like, to kind of elevate him. Okay, do you want him in Dynasty?
No, I don't. I don't think in terms of his prospect coming out, he wasn't someone I was very excited about.
Yeah, he might be a sell, right? Just because he has some had he's had some production, so you might be able to move off of him and package him up with somebody else to get into something greater. Okay, the last guy here. We already talked about Colston Loveland and a little bit about this guy, Luther Burden. Is he break out this year?
No.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't think it's happening. Do you want him in Dynasty?
He's kind of like Golden. I kind of see him somewhat similar, right? They kind of went around the same time. I wouldn't mind kind of having those sort of flyer guys. If we're thinking that, or I'm thinking that there's going to be vacation of targets there. He's a guy that I could be interested, if the price was right.
I want him. Yeah, I'm trying to buy Bird in Dynasty. I'm not aggressively going out and just offering people picks for him or anything like that. But he's when I see him on a team that's trying to trade with me, I'm gonna be trying to work him into a deal. With DJ Moore exiting what we think is going to be next year, I think Burden can step into a role there and grow. All right, let's try and move through these last three guys pretty fast here. We have some low tier third rounders here. Let's just jump right into it. Brashard Smith, we've been talking about him quite a bit. I do think we think that he can break out this year. Seeing you nodding your head in agreement. I think that pathway is clear now with Isaiah Pacheco hurting his knee. I think it's an MCL sprain, is what I'm hearing. And then, yeah, Kareem Hunt is just that kind of guy that just kind of breaks down as the season goes on. So I really like Brashard Smith here. And from a dynasty perspective, like to me, he's the kind of guy that when he does break out, then I'm trying to move off of him to kind of get into something a little more fluid, like a second round pick or another running back that I can move. Do you agree, or do you have anything to add there?
No, I agree. I think that's perfect. That's how I would play it the same.
Okay. All right. The next guy on the list that we wanted to kind of touch on here is Shimre DK for the Tennessee Titans here. He's had a couple games in a row where he stacked them, and they've coincided with the coaching change. So I don't know on this one, man. I'm kind of in between here. I do think he can break out this year, but I don't think it's a breakout where we're excited about it, or other people are going to get excited about it where they're like, "Ooh, look at DK, I want him on my team." Um, so I don't know if you have thoughts on that.
No, I agree. It's just the quarterback play has been so
Mhm.
poor that it's hard to see that full breakout come. But I mean, he's a guy. If maybe it's possible he was on waivers. Depending on how deep of a dynasty league you're looking at. Maybe not, but like worth a check. But he's definitely a guy that you'll be happy to be stashing. It's just in case Cam Ward starts looking different. I mean, there's nobody looking for targets in that offense whatsoever. Ridley has clearly been old and not good. So, yeah, I'm slightly hopeful for the future for him in terms of a name we weren't that accustomed to.
Yeah. I think for me it's similar. He's a sell, like just because he has been getting the production. Like you said, you may be able to get him off waivers now. In the rookie draft season, you probably did get him off waivers if he is on your squad, or you spent the fourth round pick on him or something. Just turn that into a third, or if you can get like a third second swap in your favor, like I would probably do that. Just kind of move off of him and try to sell high on what production he's given so far. Because yeah, it doesn't look good for outlook for him. I mean, they're probably going to invest in Cam Ward further, and I don't know how well that's going to go for them. All right, we have some four other guys we're going to touch on here, and we'll do it real quick. With this guy, I mean, Aronde Gatson, does he break out this year? I guess, does he continue to break out this year?
Yeah, I think it continues. He's looking real good.
Okay, and you want him in Dynasty?
Yeah, I think right now it's not the time to buy, right? The hype's kind of going crazy. Everybody's kind of freaking out. So it's definitely, and especially when it's a redraft player that's doing well, those are always really hard for Dynasty to buy. But if it cools down, if he has a couple bad games, I think you can buy. I mean, the athletic ability and he's a complete opposite of a lot of the guys we've been talking about where he has that elite quarterback. So,
Yeah, that's an interesting one, right? Is like if you were to buy him, and like where is his price point at right now? Is it more than a first to get him, you think?
I think that would be like really the hype, which I guess is what I'm trying to avoid. I don't know if it's like a full first, right? Like you'd be talking about that's a really big jump, and it's only been 3 games. Like, could the wheels completely fall off? Still, it is a possibility. So a couple seconds, maybe just one first, if you're really in on it. But I think that price will come down and kind of settle a little bit, especially if he cools down a bit and during the off season.
Okay. Yeah, no, I think that's good analysis there. Okay, Torrey Horton, does he break out this year?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a weird one, right? The Seahawks look good, right? He doesn't have the quarterback problem like a lot of these other guys do. And Cooper Kupp is kind of banged up right now. It's just they're so consolidated into JSN with I mean, he has games with 50% target share. It's hard to see Torrey Horton making any sort of significant impact unless we see, knock on wood here, JSN go down and then things get interesting. Okay, do you want him in Dynasty?
No, not particularly. I think I'm JSN for me, and I'm kind of out. I don't think Darnold has, although he's not looked bad. I don't know if he has it to be, supporting multiple fantasy wide receivers.
Okay. All right. Next guy here, Woody Marks. Do you want him? Or I guess, sorry, does he break out this year?
Yeah, I think if the Houston offense could get something together, he's getting the snap shares, he's getting the passes. I think it's all going to depend on that factor, but I think he has a good shot at it. In terms of dynasty, like it's kind of like the Damian Pierce. Like I think this is the one good year, and I think they look for they replenish, they bring somebody else in, and I'm looking to sell Woody Marks as soon as I can in
Yeah,
dynasty.
that's a good call. I was gonna say he feels like this year's Tyrone Tracy.
There you go.
Yeah, I like I like him. He looked really good against the 49ers the other day. So I see it. So sounds like you do want him in Dynasty, but maybe just as a value flip.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right, next guy, last guy on this list, Kyle Mongai. What do you think about him? Does he break out this year?
I think we're starting to see it. I don't know if full breakout. It depends on this Swift injury, but we're definitely going to see. I think what he's got right, and I gotta keep saying like I want the pieces that are tied to Ben Johnson. We've seen what he can do, and if he can establish himself when Swift is gone, I think that he'd be somebody, even though he was a later round pick, that they'd be happy to keep and keep featuring. I think he fits what Ben Johnson wants to do. So yeah, I definitely want him. In redraft, I'm not calling the shot, but he's one of those guys. I mean, this week he got picked
Mm-hmm.
up a lot of places, but maybe if he has a bad week or when Swift comes back, he gets redropped. He's definitely one of those guys you're talking about, continuously picking up, stashing, because I think he could be a league winner if Swift were to go down for any sort of major time. And then in Dynasty, I kind of think the opposite of Woody Marks. Like I want to buy, but I want to buy to hold to see if I can, pick up a starting running back kind of on the cheaper side.
That's interesting. And that's for future seasons. That's not just for this season.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Ben Johnson drafted this guy, and although he was a later round guy, I think he has the potential to do like a Kyron Williams or one of those things.
Hmm.
Maybe not as good, but like a later round guy that sticks, right? Like a Bucky Irving, right? Was also kind of later round guy. Like when sometimes guys get drafted that late, they kind of stick. Their coaches like them, and I think Ben Johnson does like, because I mean he's featuring Kyle now, even though Swift was healthy. I mean, and we saw those kind of games before Swift got hurt, that he was getting time. So I think he's somebody that I would take my shot that he sticks around and has a few more productive seasons.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take a closer look at him. That kind of flew under my radar. I wasn't expecting that. All right. Cool. Well, that's your rookies in the rough, where we polish up the prospects now before they sparkle on Sundays. All right, we are running a little long here, guys. Sorry about that, but let's get into senior or senile. You ready here, man?
Let's hit it.
All right, senior or senile. Today, we're deciding which veterans will have wisdoms to share or which we're ready to ship off to assisted living here. All right, man. The purpose here is we're going to be evaluating some veteran players, their dynasty value, and trying to separate the reliable pros from the washed legends living on their name value. That's equal parts roast and roster strategy. All right, let's get into this first one here. I have a feeling I know how we're going to lean on this one, but Davante Adams, who's 32, having a great year with the Rams, with Stafford tossing him the rock. How do you feel about Davante Adams? Do you think he is still worthwhile?
Yeah, I mean, you look at him and he doesn't look like a 32-year-old. I mean, obviously, with any of these guys, like the thing could just completely fall off the rails the next season, even though they look great this season. I mean, that's just part of, I mean, and also like, gosh, does this make me feel bad because we're talking about guys that are like my age and we're like, yeah, they're worthless. Let's put them in the scene in the home because they're so bad. But they're around my age. But no, I'm good. I'm good with Adams. A good holding him as a contenders in Dynasty. As a contender in Dynasty, I'm looking to purchase him for a 1-year rental. He's got a second-year contract. I mean, he got a 2-year contract with the Rams. If he stays,
Mm.
definitely, I think McVay found his guy, and I think Adams, it fits perfect like a glove with what Stafford does.
Yeah, especially with Puka taking a lot of the load there, right? I think Adams can kind of go. And yeah, he does not look 32 out there. He's one of those guys that he just looks elite, and I think it's just going to keep going here. I'm with you on Adams. Yeah, I'm not ready to retire him yet. Obviously, he's got more in the tank to give you this year. Yeah, but 33 next year, man, that's that's rough for a wide receiver, right? I mean, I guess Keenan Allen is out there at 33 right now doing it, so why not Adams, right? All right, how about this next guy here? Derrick Henry at age 31, coming off that season last year where he almost rushed for 2,000 yards. He was, running back two on the season last year. He's off to a rough start here. Where do you see him, not only for this year, but for future seasons?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could be a savvy move where I do think he's going to have a much better end of the season. And I think at the trade deadline, if you can afford it and, you see a team that you're going to be playing, maybe they're going to be on the opposite side of the bracket, something like that. You can maybe do like a smart move. I'm trying to sell Henry, so you can sell him to another contender who you're not terribly worried about. I don't think when we talked about it, his playoff schedule is particularly good. So
Hmm.
I'm okay with this year. I think I want to get out, and I think if you wait to the off season, you're literally just you're probably
It's
turning one
too
of those
late.
players that just So I think it's a savvy move. If at your trade deadline you can maybe move him to another contender and kind of drop that on them, and Henry will still carry that name value, and I think he's gonna bring his value back up somewhat. So that's kind of what I'd be looking to do with him.
Ooh, I love that. That is such a smart move. Yeah, because I feel the same way. Like I feel like he's got something left for this year, but man, it doesn't look the same. And I don't think it's just that offense. I feel like there's a little bit of decline there that we're seeing here, which is hard to hard to see. He's the king.
Yeah.
All right, the next guy on the list here is Saquon Barkley at 28, similarly to Henry, coming off he was even closer to 2,000 yards last year. He was the running back one in 2024, and again off to a slow start here. Um, where do you see Saquon?
Yeah, I'm still in. I think he kind of showed what he had this last week. He's going to get healthy over the bye week, but I think he's still elite. The offensive line's still elite. Honestly, and this is kind of just maybe like way too like trying to be meta like game. Like I think the tush push getting banned this year, and I think that just opens up another world for Saquon to get a lot more opportunities near the goal line in the future year. At least maybe that's what I'm projecting, or maybe I'm just telling myself that because I have tons of Saquon on dynasty teams, but I think you can have him for 2 more years. I mean, if CMC at 29 is able to do it, I think Saquon takes care of his body. He has that same athletic ability and that kind of freak of nature athlete. I think he can do it for this season and next season. I'm still in.
Yeah, same. I mean, we were just talking about on the debrief here where I just bought into Saquon again for the second time this season. So yeah, I'm hoping for a big finish here, and yeah, for the future seasons, it's always scary. I mean, it's scary with any running back, but he feels like one of those guys that just is gonna like retire going out on top, like, and we're just not gonna expect it, which feels a little makes me a little nervous. But yeah, the tush push is another good talking point where he could seize a surge in touchdowns next season because of that. That'd be great. All right, next guy you just mentioned him, Christian McCaffrey here. He's 29 this season, doing it again, proving all the doubters wrong, sucking out the life force of all of his teammates just to do it. Is he going on your squad, or are you shipping him off to assisted living?
No, yeah, I gotta ship him off. I think we're playing
Ooh.
that Russian roulette, dangerous game. He's staying healthy, but look at all the touches he's getting. It's like this is just the pattern. It's like RB1 and then injury the entire next year, and then you're talking about like the next year would be when he's 30 years old. I'm good if I'm wrong on CMC 1 year early. I'd rather get 1 year early where he's still CMC. Look what all he's doing. Look how good he still is. You could still sell. Maybe your team isn't doing exactly what you want, or another kind of like I wouldn't do it like the way Derrick Henry, but I would be aggressively selling CMC the moment that my trade window opens back up, if it's after the Super Bowl, if it's after whatever, and not let hit that timer tick over to 30. I don't know what his birthday is, but if it's not this year, if it's like literally 2026 when he turns 30, and I'm aggressively trying to sell CMC off my rosters going into next season.
Yeah, that's sad to hear, man. I hate to hear it, but I mean, it's so true. Yeah, I think being a year early on it is probably the smart move here. So I guess bingo, and room 302 starts in 2 minutes. CMC, you're wanted at the room 202. That's the assisted living home there. All right, we got his teammate here next on the list is George Kittle at age 32. Where you see him?
Yeah, I'm out. I'm like I don't know. I think he's already at the point where nobody really wants to trade for him. I don't think most people do. If you can move him, probably trying to move him this season, unless like I'm a heavy competitor and I don't have much else to do at tight end. But you've probably figured that out if you were a contender because he's been out literally most of the entire season. So I'm good. I'm out on Kittle. I want to be
Ooh,
out. I don't have a
spicy.
very many places, but yeah, I think I'm ready to move on there.
I'm not. Like I mean he's under contract through 2029. He is tied to an elite offense. And he's still got it, man. I love Kittle. He's so good. 32 is still young for a tight end too. I think we can get probably another at least 2, 3 years out of him. And I think there's still a lot of good football left to be played for him, especially with, there is no real target competition this year either. So I think he can, spike his value for this year, and then even if he doesn't, he's someone that I'd be looking to buy into for future years. So,
And just
so
to just to marry two of our two segments here real quick, would you do Kittle for Costa and Loveland, either straight up, or which side do you think needs a little bit more?
if I'm contending, I'd make that trade. I feel like that's an easy trade to get done between a contender and a rebuilder. So
Okay, yeah, I think if I have another tight end option, I think I'm looking to do that even
yeah,
as a contender. To be honest,
to get
just
into Colston Leva.
you're buying back, yeah, you're buying back 11 years, right, at that position on an ascending offense, or what we think is an ascending offense. So that just kind of sprung to my mind since we
Hmm.
talked about Loveland earlier. But yeah, we can move on.
No, no, I like that. Yeah, I'd be interested to see what in market value says on that,
I
value wise
definitely think you could get something back with
with
Loveland
Kittle.
to. Oh, with Kittle, okay. I don't know.
No,
I think a lot of people have the same thought you do, that they think Kittle's still elite and that he's gonna continue to be elite even though he's older. Where I think like they're like maybe I could get something a little bit back on top of Loveland, but it's definitely I think an interesting thought process or
no,
thought
I think
experiment.
you're right. I think you probably like if I have Kittle, I'm not moving him for Loveland. I don't know, but if I'm rebuilding, I don't know. Yeah, that's a tough one. Okay, let's move on to the next guy here. Another tight end in Travis Kelce. Ooh, this one, 36 years old. Oh, where are you doing? Is he gonna be Taylor Swift's love story, and they're gonna ride off into the sunset next year?
I mean, that's going to happen at some point. I think Kelsey loves football. I think he loves playing with Mahomes. And for Reed, honestly, I think it's almost like a retirement package where, like, if Reed decides to hang it up, I think Kelsey might decide to hang it up. Mahomes can't because he's too young and too good. But honestly, right now, unless you're just willing to take anything for Kelsey, which maybe is a right move, I don't think you can sell him. I think everybody's just waiting for the shoe to drop. No matter how good he continues to look and how good Mahomes continues to look, I think people have been calling for his retirement into the sunset for like, what, 3 Super Bowls now. I don't think anybody's really going to be willing to give you anything this year or next year. So I think he's just a guy that, when he retires, he sits on your roster for a couple months and then you finally drop him and wave goodbye. And hopefully, you had some good times along the way, right?
So, so he's on your squad, or he's going to assisted living?
I mean, he's like he's the parent or the grandparent or whatever that's still cognizant enough, so they're gonna battle you so that you can't send them to the home. They're gonna
So
forcibly stay
he
living with you
he just
until
dies in
they're
your house.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, that sounds so morbid and horrible, but yeah, he's gonna be combative and not let you take him to the home. He's gonna forcibly stay on your roster in your
Okay.
house.
All right, fair enough. All right. Okay, well, this next guy here, Keenan Allen at age 33, still doing it, man. He just gets doubted every year and just keeps proving people wrong. So where are you at with Keenan Allen?
Yeah, I'm shipping him off. I think he's gonna self retire. I think he's gonna take himself to the home. But yeah, I'm out. Like if I have him on my roster, then trying to win it this year, and then whatever. There's nothing to be done with him next year at all.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think in redraft, I'm still in on him. But yeah, for Dynasty, I don't. I want to get him off my squad, and just get anything I can for him if the production is still there and people still want to buy into him. So I guess Keenan Allen, you left your flip flops at Water Aerobics. Please come get your flip flops. All right, next up here we got Aaron Jones at age 30, coming off an injury. Playing what was that last week on Thursday Night Football. He took some of the work away. Whatever they were trying to do, it was very minimal work. The Vikings were running out there. Four rush attempts in the first half. It still baffled me. So where you at with Aaron Jones, man?
Yeah, he's another one I'm trying to ship, and I'm trying to ship this season. If he can hit a spike game, 6 catches, 10 rushes, 15 point plus, like I'm trying to ship him to wherever I can, quickly. Like I think he's an aging asset that continues to just be plagued by injuries. Even if his contract says he's going to be there next year, I don't think he's the future or the present. I'm not in at all.
Yeah, man, that's hard too because like he's one of those guys where he doesn't have any production to kind of lean on for this year. So you're probably not going to be able to get much, if anything, for Aaron Jones right now. You know what might be interesting, right? Is like if a contender has like Caleb Johnson, like could you send Aaron Jones and get like a Caleb Johnson? Like I don't know if that gets done, but like I'd be interested in something like that. If it does, but I don't know. Are you taking a third for Aaron Jones if someone's willing to offer it?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think with a lot of these guys, there's very little standalone value. Like, Keenan Allen, Aaron Jones, Kelsey, Kittle, maybe Kittle a little bit less, are just the perfect like throw in. Like I need a tier up, or I need to like sweeten this pot just a little bit. What's a value? What's a guy who has a name recognizable that I can throw into a deal, and that's where you can kind of squeeze the return back. But yeah, if someone wants to offer me a third for Aaron Jones, like yeah, I'm probably in. I mean, if you're a contender and you're hoping that Aaron Jones is gonna take you to the promised land, you're not really a contender. So I'd take a third pretty much any sort of context.
All right, man. Well, Aaron Jones, welcome to your retirement home. Aaron Jones, you forgot your afternoon medication. Please stop by the nurse's office.
And then for these last guys, we got like a 4-pack here, and I know we're kind of running along. Is there? These are kind of the injured old guys. So you had Tyreek Hill, James Conner, Mike Evans, Joe Mixon. I mean, I don't know. I haven't. Is Joe Mixon alive? Has anybody heard from him? Can we get a search team out for him? But are you interested in any of these guys? Obviously not this season because they're all out for the rest of the season. But in the future, do you think there's any sort of production left to be squeezed out of any of these guys?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. Definitely not Tyreek Hill. I don't know. I think that there's a world where Tyreek Hill lands back in Kansas City next year, and that might be interesting to me. I don't know. I kind of want to see how the recovery goes for his leg. James Conner would. That's another hard one because it's like I feel like we're gonna see a change in Arizona here, and I don't whether that's at the top or at a quarterback change or wherever it is. Like I think that dynamic is going to be different, and I don't know that Connor is the future of that team. Mike Evans he's probably the most interesting to me on this list because I do think that he'll be able to come back from the injury that he's on, and he was still good when he was playing this year. So I feel like of this list, I'm probably most in on Evans, and then I don't know, Tyreek Hill is probably the next interesting to me, but I think the rest of them I'm shipping out.
Yeah, I mean, I'll keep it short and sweet. I mean, it's Halloween. I think, not to get too morbid, but we call the Grim Reaper for all these guys in terms of, the death of their, fantasy relevance. I honestly like Tyreek Hill, Evans, and Mixon for a couple seasons. Connor was always reliable. I mean, these are some guys of the last like 5+ years that have been really relevant for fantasy. But I think this is the last time that they're going to be mentioned in any sort of relevant terms. Evans is definitely the one that could be the outlier just because his injury wasn't something that would impact his ability to move, and he was still moving pretty well. But Tyreek Hill, with what happened to him, James Conner, a running back with a late career type of injury. We've seen what that's done to Nick Chubb, and Joe Mixon, just whatever the heck is going on with him. I mean, who knows? But yeah, he's a guy I was out on before the whole injury thing, and now the whole injury saga. So yeah, man, we can call the Grim Reaper for these guys, at least in my book. And I don't say this like just because, but I own a bunch of these guys in teams, so it makes me sad. But it is what it is, man. It all comes to an end at some point.
Yeah, I drafted Mixon in the startup this year. It was early in the season too. It was like I think we were drafting in like May or something like that, and we hadn't caught wind. I mean, I got Mixon pretty late. I think I got him in like the 10th round or something like that. But it still sucks. It's a best ball league too, so he's just sitting on my squad doing nothing. All right, man. That's this week's seniors or senile. Remember, in Dynasty, age is just a number until it isn't. And with that, man, let's jump into the outro here. Happy Halloween, everybody. You're listening to this after the fact, but we hope you guys had an awesome week 9, and we're going to continue. You can look for our week 9 debrief coming out on Wednesday morning. You can tune into that there. We're going to keep this rolling here with the new look. Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. It's always a pleasure. And with that, I'll pass it over to you, Jose. We got about 20 seconds.
Yeah, guys, as always, thank you for coming by. Thank you for watching. If you're watching on YouTube, if you are, please subscribe, leave a comment. We're on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. And yeah, man, thanks to Jmac again for these awesome new look. See you guys.
Yeah, as always, it's been fun. And thanks, Fox, for the graphics. And see ya.